decision who's vulnerable and who needs a food parcel, and then the food bank issues them. And you might also be surprised that a third of our clients, just over, are children. So that is who we provide our food for at the food bank. Your donations, and thank you ever so much for your donations, we really, really do appreciate it. They come in, we weigh them in so we know how much we've got coming in, we sort them into type, and then we sort them into date order, and then the things with the shortest dates we use first to go in our parcels, and then we give them to our clients. Last year we had about 7,000 clients. The year before that, 6,300 clients that we provided meals for, and the year before that, 5,700. This year, the first 6 months, we fed 4,100 people. So we're on course for over 8,000. Because the first 6 months aren't the busiest 6 months. And it's getting busier. And obviously Christmas is going to be a bit of a worry. We've certainly got concerns about food security and what the food situation will be post-Brexit. And since the government don't know, the politicians haven't sorted it out and given us an answer about what's happening. We don't know what's happening. So we're doing the best to prepare and make ourselves as ready as we can be in case something goes wrong. Who knows? But what we do know is that universal credit has happened, and because of that, there has been an increase in demand already. So we've done everything we can to be as ready as we can. We've increased the number of centres, so there's more coverage around Colchester. We've got Brightlingsea, Wivenhoe, we've got North Station Road, which is a bit of a family hub, we've got Grinstead, and we've got Moorside, and then we've got an additional storage capacity over in Langham, so we can store things. I'll tell you a little secret. We've got a problem at the food bank in that some people gave us a lot of baked beans. The manager before me came up with a really witty press release to stop the problem of having too many baked beans. And they said, the food bank is full of beans. That was the press release, went out, very witty. And the public heard that and they thought, oh, the food bank is full. And they stopped giving money and they stopped giving things we need. But some of the public heard food bank and beans. And so you know what they gave us? Okay, so we need additional storage capacity because I have got a mountain of baked beans. I'm not saying I'm not grateful if you give us baked beans, but if there's one thing I can ask you not to give me, baked beans. I'm sorry, it just is. So we have another warehouse in Langham that is mainly full of baked beans, which are great, and maybe we'll use them. And in 3-5 years' time, maybe I'll come back and say, we're out of beans. It'll take at least 3 to 5 years for me to come back and say that. Okay, we're not out of beans now. We are, however, running out of something. So I've put a poster up at the back, thanks to Malcolm. And if any of you read your Bible and you've got one of those special Bibles that has the words of Jesus in red, and so you know the words in red are slightly more important because Jesus actually said them, well, that's like that. The things that are in red are the things we're really short of, so you can see exactly what we need. So we've got pictures of the things we need, and the things we're really short of and run out of are in red. So, for instance, in February, we ran out of toilet rolls, which obviously wasn't very good. We ran out of milk. We've run out of long life juice this year. We ran out of tinned fruit. We ran out of puddings. That'd be tinned custard or tinned rice pudding. But these things we run out of, and then we need to put a shout out on social media, and then we get them in. And then when we run out of one thing, and we get it back in the next week, we run out of something else, because people who are giving the other thing have moved to the thing we're short of this week. So it is a bit of catch-up, but all the things we are short of are in red, so that you know, so we need them. We get through many, many bags. All our clients take away 8 to 10 carrier bags when they leave on average, which is quite a lot of carrier bags of food. There's quite a lot of shopping to carry home. So if you do have any bags, a cupboard full of bags, a drawer full of bags, if you have a bag full of bags and you don't want it in your house, we would love to take that from you. So we would love bags. Might seem like a simple thing, but they have to be quite sturdy bags that you can carry a big bag of shopping in, otherwise there's not much point. But if you've got sturdy bags you're not using and you don't want them anymore because they're creating clutter in your house, we would love to have them. There is also the list of all the things we need up there. Most of it is food. There's a few toiletry items because about 10% of our clients are working. and they're obviously keeping their job, and they need to look smart for that. And others who are looking for a job obviously need to keep smart so they can look for a job. But a lot of what the food bank does is kind of invisible. It's about prevention. So we stop kids going into care. You know, if someone, little Johnny, faints at school and the head teacher's concerned, then the head teacher will issue a food bank voucher for them, maybe even tell, social services, so the social workers involved. But with the food from the food bank, they're able to get by for the end of the month, and maybe things will be okay. And then there isn't need for that child to be taken into care or whatever else, because there is the support and care there. Equally, someone can get to work and can be presentable for work with the toiletries and can hold their job down because they've got the strength, because they've got the food parcel from us, so they can keep their job. Or someone's able to pay the rent off with the last money they had, and rather than going without money, food for the month, if the housing support worker or someone from the housing association has thought so and gives them a food voucher, we'll give them food so they can get by to the end of the month. It's usually because some sort of crisis has happened. That might be your washing machine's blown up, in inverted commas, your car's stopped working, something else you need so that you can get to work or get your kids to school. Something goes wrong, and if you're just about managing, that throws you off the edge, so you're not managing anymore. So what we really do is try and help people stay where they are and to keep going. And I suppose we lift someone's head if they are drowning just above water for long enough so they can keep going and get to the shore, and then hopefully never use us again. Because what we're trying to do is make people not dependent on us, because we don't want people to depend on us. We want people to be living their lives and having fun and, having a normal life. We want to close through lack of demand. So you could say we're failing as a food bank because demand keeps increasing. Or you could say society's failing. You can make your choice on that. What we say is we won't allow someone to suffer through inaction. If people are suffering, we will step up to the plate and we will help them. And with your generous support and help, we're able to do that. We're able to keep match with the demand for our service. We're able to help people who are really suffering. The largest group of clients we have is single males. So I'm going to be perhaps a little bit sexist here, but technically speaking, men tend, and this is tend, to ask for help less often than women, and they tend to keep doing what they've always done and not try new things as much as women do. Tend. So men tend to then hit a problem further on down the line where women have usually asked for help sooner and usually tried a different approach and usually avoided it. The other thing, though, when we looked at our clients, while single males were the most referred individuals to our food bank, they weren't actually the biggest client group. If you count children, and we do count children, then actually single parent families were the largest client group because of the kids. And that's probably the other half of the single males, because they've got the kids. And obviously, it's heartbreaking. If you've only got one income and something goes wrong, you've got no reserves, or you've got no one else who can, bail you out, unless you've got grandparents or, very good friends. The food bank is what there is to bail you out, and that's what we do. We provide the help so that someone doesn't go under. We also work with the Trussell Trust nationally, so we give the statistics, the reasons why people have come to us to them, so they can go to Parliament and say to people, this is what's wrong. So last year we did that, and we were campaigning to reduce the 6-week wait for universal credit, because we said 6 weeks was too long. So last year they reduced it to 5 weeks. So this year we've been campaigning that 5 weeks wait for universal credit is still too long. People are still being put in destitution by that. And they're doing a pilot over in Harrogate at the moment to reduce it considerably. I'm aware that nothing is perfect in this world, in our experience of it, because it's all flawed, but we can make things less worse, if not better, and that's what we try and do. I think that gives you an overview of the fact that we are trying to change policy. I suppose that's what Bishop Desmond Tutu called, when you are fishing people out of a river, there comes a time when you fish lots of people out of the river, when you have to think, who keeps throwing people in this river? And you go upstream to find out, and you try and get them to stop throwing people in the river. So not only are we helping people out of the river, we're trying to go upstream and say, well, this is what's causing people to be chucked in the river. Can we try and change this so that less people end up drowning and need to be pulled out of the water. That's what the food bank does. And most of what we do stops things from getting worse for people. We keep people able to get back out on the dry land and walk on and carry on with their life, and for things not to go worse or from one crisis to a trauma. It is about damage limitation and about helping people get back up on their feet and carry on. You know, I think all of us, if your partner, as it was, to clear the bank accounts and run off, you know, if it's the beginning of the month, you would struggle to survive the month, I imagine. If, you know, you were sued and someone said you'd said naughty things or done naughty things, or someone at work was to blame you for a mistake at work and you would be fired, how long could you go without income or with things being difficult? There are circumstances where it means that all of us could be at risk of needing the food bank if things were to go wrong for us. Now, God willing, it won't go wrong for any of us and everything will be wonderful. But sometimes it does go wrong for some people, and that's what the food bank's there, as a safety net to try and help those people where it does go wrong. Shall I ask for questions at this point?
If someone was, so you know, you said the washing machine went wrong or the car went wrong, what does someone do then? Like, how they don't just rock up, do they?
No, we've got a list of 200 agencies that we work with. They're the ones that issue the vouchers. So it would be if there's a key worker or support worker from an organisation already working with that individual, then they could issue it. If not, the job centre could issue it, or Citizens Advice Bureau, or some other organisation that they're working with. You know, a church can. There are different organisations out there on the front line that are helping people that have got the vouchers and can issue them to someone in need.
It's just, it sort of kind of feels like on that day you think, oh no, and knowing exactly where.
Well, there is a list on our website of where you can get the vouchers from.
So if you thought that crisis was,
yeah,
you look up through back up.
Yeah. Okay.
Having been referred by an agency to you, how many returns can a client make? And can you just say, when you say 7,000, 8,000, what have you, clients, is that just simply clients, or is that the number of times that a food packages have gone out?
Okay, I'll answer both those questions. I'll start with your last question. It's the number of meals we've provided for people. So there can be some repeat. Okay, so if someone comes back, we will provide help. Now, what our rule of thumb is that they can come 3 times in 6 months from the agency, but if they're coming more than 3 times in 6 months, we do a chat, as we'd say, with the client, or in professional speak, a case conference, where we talk with the organisation to find out what's going on. Now, it might be someone needs long-term help for 6 months or whatever, because they're going through a debt relief order, and they've got no money because all their money is taken up in paying off the debt, and they are destitute, or that they've had their benefits sanctioned and they've got no income. There might be reasons for, in terms of domestic violence, where their partner is taking all their stuff and, you know, there is a real tragic thing going on. There are lots of reasons why we might need to give someone longer help, but they are rare. You know, we've had someone who didn't have recourse to public funds, so they had no money, and we provided additional food because they needed additional food. That was what the support worker said, so we said yes, because we provided some additional food for that person just for a period, because we're always about trying to find an end date and trying to find, you know, what is it that's going to get this person out of our need. But the majority of our clients, you know, 2 or 3 parcels is enough. It gets them through the period when there is a crisis, or 1 is enough. You know, it's everyone's crisis is different, but if it's something that's just happened near the end of the month and you're waiting till payday and you just need to get by, you know, one food voucher might well be enough, and then you know, 1 food parcel when it gets them through. But I suppose it's down to individual circumstances, which is why we have the frontline agency that's working with them, because the main thing we want is for them not to need help again and for their crisis to be properly solved. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Yes, question. We've at Mariners, we've been supporting off and on the food bank for quite some time. I think since Malcolm and Anne have come to join us, we've been really supporting the food bank much more regularly. So really grateful to Malcolm and Anne for what they're doing and the reminders. even though we know that we can bring stuff every week and that Malcolm and Anne will come and donate it for us on our behalf, sometimes just in the midst of life and the busyness of life, folks forget. My question is, are there other ways, if we weren't to bring a bag of shopping, can we go online and donate financially, or is there another way of giving?
Okay, well, there are lots of things you can do. If you use Amazon Shopping, you can choose us using Smile Amazon. You can choose us as the your charity, and then we get 0.5%, I think, of any purchases you get through that. We've had people do internet shopping, so through Asda, Tesco, whatever, Waitrose, and get it delivered directly to the food bank, which is something you can do. Obviously, we'd ask you to get it delivered when we're open, because that's a lot easier, because if it's delivered when we're closed, we're not there, and we just get a card saying we tried to deliver, but you weren't there, which has happened. The majority of time, though, we do have the opportunity for a one-off giving, or for people to give on a regular basis, you know, even £1 a month or £10 a month. Those sorts of things add up, and it does make a real difference to the food bank. Regular givers are the things that keep the food bank going. Okay. We also have the opportunity for people to support us on social media. So if you have Facebook, please do give Colchester Food Bank a like. We're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter. We try and reach out to people. It's a different crew on each of those platforms. Whichever one works for you, please connect with us. And we try and keep you up to date with what's happening. We do try and give feedback on what clients tell us.
Right.
And the client stories can be quite harrowing.
Thank you.
Yes, hi mate. Is this on? Yeah. Okay. Just a question about reaching out through the network. So obviously you get a load of people through. Are there systems in place to refer people on if they're looking for help, and in particular from a Christian perspective, is there opportunity, I guess, not to directly share your faith, but how have you managed that? How do you cross that bridge?
Okay, well, if I unpack that a little bit, I'll start with signposting. So we do it like a cafe style thing, a bit like here with the tables, and we have like a menu on every table, but the menu isn't a menu for cake and coffee, it's a menu for agencies that can give help. And we have a little icon next to each agency, or icons, being whether it's helping with money, being whether it's helping with housing, whether it's helping with talking support, but it's about them being able to look through and find the help that will suit them, because everyone's different. But the menu there, which is, you know, a foldable menu with all the different agencies on, mean that we can just refer them to an agency and say, well, this one here might help you, and we signpost them. You know, if necessary, we can do a phone call with them and about getting them additional help. We do refer some people. Some people come and loneliness is an issue, and certainly, you know, there are organisations like Open Door that, you know, where we can say, well, you can go to Open. It's on our list of things they could go to, where they have someone who will listen to them and they can talk to people. There are, you know, other agencies on there for, you know, alcohol or drugs or well, domestic violence, whatever the issue might be, whatever contributing factors there might be. You know, there's a night shelter on there if they need somewhere to stay. But the majority of our clients are housed. It's only about 3% of our clients that are sofa surfing or homeless. And, you know, one of the things we do is ask people, do you have access to a kitchen? Do you have access to hot water? Because some people have access to hot water without a kitchen. But it is about trying to find out what access they've got in terms of the food parcel we give them. Because if they can't take things that can be cooked in a kitchen, then we provide them things that don't need a kitchen, and if they don't even have a hot water, we can't even give them a pot noodle. So we come up with a cold food parcel that they can have. You know, we always check if they've got tin openers. We always check if they, you know, can eat that stuff, because some people are vegetarian, some people are lactose intolerant, some people it's got to be halal or kosher, vegan. There's lots of different options that people have, and some people just don't like peanuts or something. Some people might be allergic to them, but when we bring someone a food parcel, which is all the bags of food, we always say, is there anything you can't, won't or don't eat? And we'll swap like for like, because I have had someone try to swap everything for steak, because they quite like steak, and we say, well, I understand you like steak, but that's not how we work. We'll swap, if you're carrotist and you hate carrots, we'll swap your carrots for peas. And if you're, I don't know, if you're not a meat eater, vegetarian, we'll swap your meat for vegetables or fish if you like fish. Although I don't understand vegetarians that eat fish, but it's all good if that's all they like. We'll give it to them. I think what we generally try and do is just find what works for that individual. So if someone doesn't like brown bread and we've got white bread, well, they can swap brown for white. It's simple enough. And if someone doesn't like strawberry jam, we can swap it for blackcurrant jam. It's not it's not rocket science, but we do try and give people what they like. And, you know, sometimes someone says, oh, this is semi-skimmed milk, I only eat full fat. So we swap it semi-skimmed for full fat. And we have some people who say, I don't drink tea, so we swap their tea for coffee or hot chocolate. But we just try and find something that's similar so that they all get a nutritionally balanced parcel. Because one of the problems is there are some people who health is not so good, public health wise, because their diet is not very mixed, but we try and give them a mixed, nutritionally balanced parcel, which is what we do, so that their nutrition and their health is going to be boosted by eating the food we're giving them, and they're going to have a more healthy life, hopefully, although obviously we can't, whilst we give them the food, they might not actually eat it all. Who was next? I think there was the gentleman at the back and then the lady there.
We were recently in Tesco's at Bristol Roundabout, and instead of putting on the shelter, they normally put up extra capacity in the run-up to Christmas. It's a little early for that even for Tesco, so we're looking at the run-up to Brexit, followed by Christmas. So there's widely spoken of and anticipated that there is a potential that people might want to lay up stock before any disruption, and it's going to get a bit wild with how the checkouts in that anticipated. So are there any overarching directives from Foodbank? Please give us lots more as in the next couple of weeks or something like that, in anticipation of this pressure.
We don't want to cause a run on food because we don't want to exacerbate any problems that there might already be. But we have got on our list at the back things in red, the items that we are short of, and we certainly are trying to focus the public's attention to the red items, just on the grounds that those are the ones we need to make ourselves as ready as possible if there is a surge in demand. But the problem is no one knows what's happening with Brexit. The government don't know what's happening with Brexit. And I'm not meaning to be overly political here, but the government have said one thing and then delivered another, and they said it was going to be 31st of March, and we were all ready for 31st of March. We worked really, really hard to get additional space and different things ready and up, and opening on Saturdays, which we did in the beginning of February, so that we would be ready in case there was a surge of demand. And we did everything we could, and 31st of March came and went. We've done everything we can to be as ready with opening additional sites, getting ourselves ready, so that if there is a surge of demand, the food bank can cope as best it can. But we have gained additional volunteers. We've positioned ourselves to do that. But again, we don't know what's happening. I can't tell you what's happening. I can tell you the food bank is as ready as it can be. We've worked really hard. We put in additional hours, all of us, all of the team. We've got 140 volunteers, 2 part-time members of staff, and the 2 part-time members of staff haven't been working part-time. And the 140 volunteers have been doing above and beyond what you can ask of them. We are as ready as we can be. Can we be more ready? Well, we've done everything we can do to be as ready as we can be by October the 31st, and now we've done it all. We're just letting what we've done embed, because we've made all the changes which are ready. We've got Grinstead open, we've got North Station Road, which is the family hub, which we share with the Uniform Exchange and the Baby Bank, so that families have got a place where they can get a one-stop shop. Grinstead was our place of most demand, so we've opened a food bank there so that people don't have far to travel. And it's all about trying to meet the demand and be ready for it. But we don't know what's happening, but we know we are as ready as we can be.
Sorry, can I just say this is the last question, and then we'll continue. Yeah.
You've almost answered my last question, in that we're talking about the amount of volunteers you have. My question really is, do you need more volunteers? Would that help? Would it hinder?
I don't think it would hinder. I think we've got different things we need volunteers for. Certainly North Station Road, our latest one we've opened, which has only opened just last month. We would be looking for more volunteers. It's only open on Mondays and Wednesdays at the moment. that would need more volunteers. We do have some shifts that have some vacancies because we have different roles. We have drivers who drive and collect food. We have warehouse people who sort it all out. We have front of house people who do the meet and greet area where they make people feel welcome and give them a brew. On our website there are volunteer forms you can download, fill it in, send it in, and we'll do our best to do it. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.